afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Our World, Our Power. Here with Lady Pauline and my guest host, Phil Andrews, the president of the Long Island African American Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Wayne Gilman, political analyst and former news director of WBLS and WLIB here in New York, and Alvin Hartley, the founder and president of TMI and Partners. Welcome, my co-hosts. Now, the beautiful panelists that's on. Wayne, do you have everything to get started with them?
I'm impatiently awaiting your cue.
Okay, you can start introducing everybody to panelists.
Okay. Well, first of all, welcome once again. This is part 2 of our program for this weekend with Our World, Hour of Power. And we have an array of guests this afternoon that we're honored to have with us. I'm just going to read off the names, and people could nod or perhaps give a short statement about their backgrounds, because I'm working sort of blind here without a bio. But Selena Hill, we'll start with you, an award-winning multimedia journalist. I understand you're affiliated with Black Enterprise Magazine.
Yes. Happy Saturday, everyone.
Happy
My name
Saturday.
is Selena Hill. I'm the digital editor at Black Enterprise. I'm also the host of The New Norm with Selena Hill, which streams on Black Enterprise. And on top of that, I have my own independent podcast. It's a political talk show that also focuses on social issues. It's called Be Heard Talk. We used to actually do the show at WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. But now we're doing it primarily on Zoom and streaming. And Black Enterprise also streams the show, so you can catch it every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern live.
Very good, very good. We're going to move right along. Miss Sandra Lee, good afternoon and welcome once again to Our World.
Good afternoon.
Good call.
And I'm just wondering if you can give us a little bit. I see here that you're the founder of a GTM Villages LLC. Could you give us a brief description as to what that's all about?
Yes, I run a property management business.
Oh, I need to talk to you after.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. And I also run a construction company.
Oh, I really need to talk to you. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, our next guest, thank you and welcome once again. Our next guest is Malcolm Boyd. Malcolm.
How are you doing? How you doing?
Oh, okay. You too. Okay, got you. Didn't mean no disrespect there by that. Malcolm,
no, I'm used to it. Look, I mean, hey, I can't blame you.
I'm sorry.
See, I can't blame you. No problem.
Yeah, forgive me. My mouth is awful. Anyhow, Malcolm, welcome. I see that you're the founder of Three-Legged Elephant Publishing Company.
Yes, I am.
And could you give us a description a little bit about what that's about?
Three-Legged Elephant Publishing is basically a very small publishing firm that allows the author to keep their own publishing rights, because the publishing business nowadays is quite a bit like the recording industry used to be way back in the day, where the artist makes 3 or 4 cents and the company winds up making millions.
I need to see both of you.
So I kind of turned it around. I'm a published author myself, so that's why I know so much about the wrong end of it, because I got done wrong at the very beginning of my journey as a published author.
Very good, very good. We'll be getting back to you shortly. Dr. George Onuora, co-founder of this media network, Our World. Welcome. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to join in this very important conversation. As was Mr. Gilman said, I'm Dr. George Onuora. I'm a co-founder of our World Media Magazine, and I'm also into philanthropy. I'm the CEO of Foundation for Sustainable Community Development Initiative, and what we do is we help under-resourced communities here in Corona and as well as in Africa. Besides that, I have done quite a number of things in political areas. Serve on the community board in Queens. I'm also an author of the Political Diary of a Rising Sun, published in 2010. So I'm about politics, I'm about community, and I'm about building sustainable relationships. So hopefully this gathering will be an opportunity for us to do that. Also on Tuesday, if I may add, I'm going to be celebrating my 62nd birthday, 62nd.
62nd.
So,
wow. I got socks older than yours. And I'm sorry. Yeah.
I see Carl has joined us, Carl Clay.
Okay, well, we still didn't get to Tony. I was going to get
I know. Go
Carl
ahead.
last. Thank you. Tony, if you don't mind. You're the CEO of Our Times newspaper. I'm sorry.
Right.
With a cup of coffee.
I'm the publisher editor.
Right, right. And I've seen your
Times.
publication. It's very good.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I've been doing it for, in fact, tomorrow will be my 15th anniversary.
Wow.
Since I returned. The reason why I say since I returned, because I originally started this paper in 1993. I published originally from 1993 to 1997.
Wow.
So this is my second run, and free paper that circulates in the predominantly Black neighborhoods of Southeast Queens communities, where we got the #1 revenue area in the entire Black community across the country. So I'm very proud that I've been able to sustain it throughout the years. It's been hard. It's a free paper, so we are very advertising sensitive.
Right.
So, you know.
Okay, well, we'll certainly get into that. I know that's an issue. And last but not least, I want to welcome Carl Clay. Carl, as many of you know, is the founder and CEO of Black Spectrum Theater in Queens, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Southeast Queens.
Southeast Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as I had asked the others, since I was unable to get bios on each, could you kindly give me a description as to what you've done there at Black Spectrum and how you're impacted by maybe the pandemic now, in a few words?
Well, we're actually celebrating our 50th anniversary, and you know we've been doing it for 50 years. The theater started. It grew out of a workshop out of a church, Trinity Lutheran Church, back in 1969. We officially began in 1970.
Wow.
We've done over 350 plays. We've made about 25 different films, 1 feature-length film. You know, my own career has kind of spanned the lifeline of Black Spectrum Theater at the same time. I used to work for Melvin Van Peebles, or CBS News. I've been a New York City school teacher. I've also been a lyricist with Roy Ayers and Norman Connors, jazz artists. And
all right.
I have one book under my belt and about 17 plays that I've written.
Very good, very good. It's an honor to meet you, and quite a distinguished career. And I see from the screen here, I've been joined by my good buddy, Reggie Thomas, who's down there in sunny Florida. Reggie and I go way back. He was the general sales manager at WBLS, WLIB, V103 in Baltimore, KJLH in Los Angeles, Stevie Wonder's station, Infinity Broadcasting. The only Black man I know who speaks fluent Russian. You know, welcome, Reggie.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, and welcome, everyone.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Pauline, lady, I'm going to turn it back to you. And
Okay.
Alvin Hartley, not to be ignored, but he's the, I guess, the ringleader for all this. You know? So
he's one of my hosts,
your host,
and also my greatest sponsor, TMI. And partners, I have to say, is one of my greatest sponsors for Our World, Our Power radio show. So thank you, Alvin. Take my hat off to you. Thank you for being there for me.
All right. Well, I would take my hat up. I didn't even have no hair. There you go. Well, I'll just
I thought you were doing your hair.
Okay.
All right.
I just want to say one thing before you start, Pauline.
Yeah.
Mr. Tony,
Yes.
and I think Malcolm, and then I think George. You know my mother. Do you remember a lady called Justine Brown? She used to be with Paisley Pond Park. Justine Brown. She used to work
Justine
with
Brown.
neighborhood housing.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
my
Yes.
My mother
Oh,
knows
wow.
a lot of. My mother's no longer
Oh.
here, but she
Oh, man.
worked.
Yeah.
She
I remember.
knows every one of you guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
my
God
God.
bless her
So,
soul.
so I just want to
Wow.
let you know
Yeah, I remember
that
that.
I'm the prodigy of my mother. So my
Wow.
mother said when she leaves,
Wow.
I
She's a
gotta
good
take
woman.
over.
You must be a
So-
great
Yes,
man.
yes,
Oh yeah. So my
yes.
mother said. So every time I talk to you, it's really my mother talking to you.
Wonderful.
So go ahead.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, girls.
I could go somewhere with that, but I'm not going to do that.
Okay, we're gonna
Whoa.
start today's segment, and we're gonna start off by a powerful question that I'm gonna ask. And what is the role of the Black media in advertising the Black agenda? And Wayne, can you start it off for me, please?
Well, I would like to throw it out to our panel.
Okay, go ahead.
I just think that, my long time in the business, that it is imperative that as long as we have Black media to advance our agenda. And very often these days, I started out in the early 70s, and a lot of you have just come behind me. I feel like Father Time here. But the bottom line is that I remember working at WLIB. This even predates Reggie Thomas, when they felt that Black people did not wash with Ivory soap. There was an accountant at the station way back when. He was trying to sell time for LIB and BLS and what was LIB FM. And, they went to the company at Ivory. I forgot the corporate name. To buy time for the station, and the guy turned around at the corporation and said, well, we don't need to advertise at a Black station because Black people don't wash. I'll never forget that, and there was a whole campaign around that back in the early 70s, and the Reverend Al Sharpton would be a witness if he were here, So
Right.
it's issues like that. If we don't tell our story, we get lost in the sauce, and we've made advances, but we
True.
still have a long way to go.
Okay. Tony, give me your impression on the role of the Black media in advertisement, please.
Well, Black advertising is very difficult to acquire if it's just Black-owned business because of they don't have the funds necessary. So that's the only one of the problems I have. With corporate advertising is even more difficult because like Wayne said, a lot of them think they don't need to advertise, even though we circulate in a community in which most of their business come from. So I have a struggle with that. I've been successful. I've been very successful at it because 15 years as hitting the pavement. I've been getting local advertisement. I have a lot of doctors, lawyers, professionals that do advertise with me. So I cannot really complain as far as that, but we need more. We need everybody to advertise with us because we have a message that's very, very positive.
Okay, good. Thank you, Tony. Selena Hill, please give me your impression of the statement that I asked.
Yeah, no, great question. I agree with what Tony said. I think that advertisers have historically neglected the role that Black media plays in our communities. They don't understand that we are trusted sources and that our community trusts us because of our authentic voice. In fact, I just had an interview with Detavio Samuels, who is the COO of Revolt, That's the company founded by Pete Diddy. And he was telling me this as well. And he said, I believe there's about a small percentage of advertisement from these big companies is actually allocated towards Black companies. I believe he said something like 2%. And then so what happens is it pits Black media against each other because we're competing for the same amount of dollars in this very small pool of funds. And also something like that is also not fair. I do think that, you know, when we're talking about the Black agenda, it is up to us to push the Black agenda, but it's also up to us to fund the vehicles and the platforms that are going to push it. We can't trust, you know, that's how a lot of us get into these circumstances where we have to kind of feel like we're appeasing these big white-owned companies and sort of have to tone down our perspectives because we know we're so dependent on them. That's why it's up to us as a community to, you know, support economically and put the dollars behind so that we can remain independent and authentic.
Yeah.
Well put. That is beautiful.
One of the things I like to say is that we've been advancing the Black agenda in Black press for a long time. The Black Lives Movement has moved to the forefront, but for many years it was our media covering those stories. So just as we need to give some credits to, you know, all the years where we was like that silent voice, just the only one writing about it. And now we also got to look at ways that we can sustain media. Are we subscribing to our media? Are we paying that fee for our own media? So I think we need to look at how we can support our own media in this age.
Okay, Phil, thank you. Do you feel that we are supporting it?
Well, I think we are, but I think we can do a better job. I think we need to advertise with each other. We need to do business with each other when there's a price. I mean, almost everybody got cable subscription, right? Why don't we have the subscription to this young lady's podcast? So I think we need to look at, you know, today what's unique about this environment is that we don't have to get on ABC to be famous. We need to get behind people like that young lady that got her podcast. We can make a great following with the tools that we have today, but there is a price because they got costs too. Every business has a cost, and we need to sustain our media. Like we talked about yesterday, we're declining the media, but one way we can grow in media is to support it.
Okay.
I would like to back Phil up because Phil, Wayne and myself, we were on Friday with the legends. And young lady, Miss Hill, very proud of you. Very, very proud of you because we need more of the young people who are not afraid to say what we've been saying. We have nothing against white people. We don't. But we don't have to keep on begging for corporate America's money because corporate America follows us. Mm-hmm. So Tony, I wrote down, Tony, you have local doctors and lawyers. How do we expand that so we can get locals and even if you did a show, either a campaign in your newspaper, a campaign with Our World, where you got 5, 6, 10 Black lawyers and doctors are saying, these are our services, this is what you do, and we're really here, and this is where you can find us. You see, when we cross-promote each other, we expand our base. And expanding our base, we expand our dollar value. Yeah. That's what it is. Malcolm?
Yeah.
I like to touch on that. When you say that expanding Black agenda, I think that really, for us as a community as a whole, we need to define that, what our agenda is, because we're so disenfranchised and there's 10 of us going one way, 20 of us going another way, and 100 of us going backwards. You know what I mean? So, and like you say, we're trying to appease the white community. If they don't serve us as a community, because we're worth hundreds of billions of dollars, we take our money and we can boycott different companies. We need to coordinate our agenda, if you understand what I mean.
But we're doing that right now, Malcolm, but we're doing that. You see, I keep on hearing that, what is the agenda? What is this? We're actually doing it right now. Let me show you what we're doing within this 90 minutes. There's going to be a commitment here. There's going to be a commitment with Tony and in our world. And even Mrs. Hill says, we're going to talk tomorrow and we're going to cross-pollinate. You see, we can't do all of the agendas, but we can do the agendas that falls in our platform. And once we make that agenda fluent among ourselves, we can then help the other agenda. You see, when you open Tony's newspaper, you should see Our World. When Our World comes up, you should see Tony's commercial. You follow what I'm coming from?
Yes.
We're already
Yes,
cross.
I agree.
You see, what Phil does, Phil is the president of the Long Island African American Chambers. So Phil has access to all those small businesses. So Phil said, hey guys, look at these shows, look at these newspapers, look at these black people. Well, I don't have no money. Well, why don't you sit down and talk to Tony? Why don't you sit down and talk to Pauline? Because they'll work out the budget. Quit taking the $15 or $20 or $35 that they're asking for and claiming you ain't got no money. Stop it. You got the money. Just $15, $25 and let it go in circle.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Phil.
I agree
one of
with
the
that
things,
because-
Tony, well, I wanted to make an emphasis on the importance of, like even Mr. Earl Graves, you know, I happen to hear him a lot of ways. What he did is, by promoting his vehicle, he helped a lot of black other businesses get off their feet. And the same thing we're trying to do in our time, that we can get behind this publication, get behind each person on this podcast, on this Zoom. So we can use we have a lot of influence, but we use it for the wrong reason. We'll say this show is on, I ain't gonna mention no names, but we'll advertise that. Why don't we advertise the people that's on this call and the businesses and trade within each other? And I think we'll grow the businesses. Support. We have businesses up and running. Support those businesses.
Yes.
Now you also have, what you don't realize, if you guys, I know Carl Clay, we're twins. We've been together for over 30 years. We know each other. Carl Clay has an avenue that you can advertise and drive tickets and drive traffic. I mean, there's so much you can do. The man has brick and mortar. Carl Clay has an outside fan that runs advertising all day long. All of this is available for us to cross-promote with. That's the beautiful thing. You see, they can come because we got it. In old school, what they did, they came, they went to individuals, they paid off individuals to destroy each other. This is the time where we got it, y'all. We don't need to do that anymore. There's too much money that we can make together. Let's talk to each other. And Reginald would tell you, Reginald comes from that. He understands it at every level.
Can if I can, we're getting some questions in the chat box to the question, Carl Morris, he's saying, what is the Black agenda? Can you describe it? And then he said, is reparations included? And I did want to just address that because I do think it's time for us to collectively come together and talk about the Black agenda. In fact, tomorrow on my live show, I'll be speaking with Dr. Wes Bellamy of Virginia and Candace, I'm forgetting her last name, but she is a local mayor in Maryland. They came together and formed what is called our Black Party. And what they are doing is they have created a Black agenda that they are pushing on a national scale. The way they're doing this is they're encouraging Black people to get involved, civically involved in local politics. Sit on your school board, get involved with your community board, make sure you understand who your police chief is, because I think one part of the Black agenda is being involved civically and politically and knowing that being at the table when those decisions are made. That's how we can get empowered, that information. And I absolutely also believe reparations. And then also Francine Holt, she also asked a question to the panel. She says, well, she made a comment. She says, if Black media partnered with small business, both the business and the publication grows and benefit.
Touche. Touche.
Yeah.
Can I?
Definitely. And the reader, the average reader appreciates that because I get a lot of donations from readers I got a letter last week from someone who sent me $400, you know, and wrote me a beautiful letter because she's encouraged that we have Black-owned doctors, Black-owned lawyers, Black-owned businesses. the people want this. So it's up to us to get it. To me, they really want it. The people appreciate that.
Here's what I'd like to say is that, especially about the Black agenda. I've heard that said a number of times. What is the agenda? What is the agenda? I've come to realize that the agenda has to be much smaller before it can be much bigger. And I think what Alvin was saying is spot on. The idea that we can create many networks that operate. You know, like if you look at electronics, you have certain cells, you have certain smaller components that then add to a larger component. We haven't gotten our smaller components together yet. We tend to think in terms of what's the national agenda, what is reparations, those are all good things to think about. But the micro networking is so important, and it really means that once you have a micro network together, other people. I'm gonna quote Dick Gregory. If you have something good, you don't have to ram it down somebody's throat. They'll steal it from you. They'll copy it. And so the issue becomes, how do we form these micro networks that work and that serve each other? And I got news for you. Black media was decimated in a lot of ways historically. There's no Black radio anymore. Black radio has been decimated, okay?
Yeah.
There used to be a time you could turn on WWRL or, you know, BLS and get what was going on in the community. The church, everybody was tying in. They've decimated that. They've shut it out.
Yeah.
So the only thing we can do now is to begin to, you know, organize in smaller networks. And once that network is together, you add on to that network and then you build it. And next thing you know, you have an entire network of things operating. But independently, it starts with that one unit, and we've got to create units. So let's get busy.
Yeah, these white media people that's posing as Black-owned publications.
Oh, please.
Like the Caribbean Life. That's a white-owned Jewish-owned paper.
Yeah.
And very few people know that. And then we put our advertising dollars with them. So we have a problem with that. You have people that's pretending to be Black.
But
in fact,
well, that game's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's nothing new. I mean, the deal is that's why we have to recycle our dollars in our community. You know, I don't want to stop the other person from doing what they do. I also did time at Air America when it was around. It was a national radio network that gave birth to Rachel Maddow, Al Franken, of quite a few other people. Chuck D and I used to share the mic from Public Enemy, and the deal is, I find with these people, when they had their operation, they will fight amongst themselves, but they come out in unison. I find that once we have an opportunity, and we did a little discussion on this yesterday with the Johnson publication, as soon as there was a hint of competition within the own community, instead of supporting one another, they took this protectionist stance and said, all right, well, I built this empire. I'm not going to allow you to take over mine.
Lady Pauline?
Yes.
I just want to piggyback on Carl Clay point. I had went through training with another community, and what we need to do is we need to build coalitions.
Right.
We need to build coalitions around our issues. In the coalition, we got to bring the right people to the table. You know, you can't coalition with anybody. So if we bring the right people together and we build a coalition, we could set up the issues, how long we're gonna do it. You know, give you an example of what they did. Some people during Sandy, some people wasn't getting service during Sandy, and they developed a coalition to get what they want. So we need to develop a coalition, and I have the PowerPoint. I got it from another community, but that's the thing we need to do. If we got an issue, we got to come to the table, bring the right leaders to the table, and commit to that those issues over a period of time, and we'll be able to document the success of what we're doing when we come to the table. And like Carl said, we got to come to this table. This could be that informal coalition, right? It could be the start of something major with media in our community in the Black agenda. But we got to get together. We can't leave this meeting and then there's no coalition built.
And that, okay.
Lady Pauline, okay, so I just want to chime in a little bit. I think as a community, what we are missing, we have to move beyond protest and politics and find a way to build an economic agenda around our people. We have NBA players, we have people in Hollywood, we have, Oprah Winfrey and people like that. So why can't we, with their help, build something that will be concrete so that we can talk about educating our children, because education is a way to build up the leaders of tomorrow. So, but if we are unable to do that, we're going to be missing a lot. I've attended, like, for instance, Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Wall Street project for the past maybe 18 or 19 years. Over there, he has building Black economic wealth and agenda and things like that, Wall Street. So those are ways that we can, from this little conversation we're having today, come together. And then from there, we can begin to populate our messages within the Black community so that we can now build our own, because we have this onslaught of, within the larger community, white, whatever, trying to, impose values that are antithetical to our progress, So coming together is one way we have to do this. And I think this conversation we're having today will be a very important first step. There's this Chinese saying, a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And I think that step is what we're taking today.
But here's where I'm going with the agenda again. And please, I got a message. Please, everyone, if you're not talking, please put it on mute. So you're going to have to jump in and out of mute. I see Ms. Hill. The ladies did it already. The ladies are always in advance. So we'll jump in and out. George, I would like to address that, if you don't mind, Lady Pauline. George, it still gets back down to what we're saying. First of all, the Oprah Winfrey and all the rest of them locally, it ain't happening. It's not happening. It will happen when we make it happen. You follow me? Because they got everybody around the world, all these celebrities. Remember, everybody that is famous came from some place. So instead of us looking to the people that are famous, look at the people, like we're looking at Mrs. Hill. Okay, then we're looking at Tony, who's been around for the longest as well. These people are coming up the rank. So you get them when they're coming up the rank. You don't get them when they already got there. Okay, so that's the key thing. Carl Clay, 50 years. All right, then. Carl Clay watched all the celebrities go up the rank. But how many celebrities are lining up because they need big pay? But one person comes to Carl Clay that's out of Hollywood to do this 2 weeks, can help Carl Clay pay for one meal, or at least 2 meals, right, Carl? But what it does, so we have to smoke it. I'm tired of us focused on the big picture, because remember, everybody comes to the basement to get their ideas. We're too busy trying to run upstairs to get the ideas. Start with the business that's in the basement, because that's where the success starts. The success starts with Tony. The success starts with Tony and our world working together. Like Ms. Hill says, I have an agenda that I'm doing. So, hey, Ms. Hill, if you're going to tape it, if we know what Mrs. Hill is doing 2 weeks in advance, get Mrs. Hill on your show. Run the ad for Mrs. Hill. You got me? Because when Mrs. Hill's on, Mrs. Hill's going to say, and I want to give a special thank to some of our supporters. And you go to da-da-da-da, so forth and so on. And it goes back and forth, back and forth. Before you know it, we build the base. Like Carl says, once you build it, then everybody else will duplicate it.
That's why I brought everybody here to the table. Reginald, I would like to hear your comment on the subject.
He's on mute.
No, he's not on mute, but that's interesting.
Okay.
Reggie.
Mike.
Okay, here. I
His
hear
mic
him.
may be low.
Yeah, I think your mic
Oh,
may be
no.
low, Reggie. Turn the audio up, maybe, Reggie.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I can read your lip. Hi, how are you? My
I
name
don't
is
know.
Reggie.
We'll move on to the next.
Okay.
Okay, Reggie.
I want to say something about competition. There's no such thing as competition. Competition helps all of us. You know, it's like what Shirley Robinson said, the great fighter. He said he used to go to bed dreaming of somebody that could fight him because that's the only way he'll grow. So a lot of people look at competition as being detrimental, but competition actually help us all. So we just got to work with each other.
Okay, sounds good. Like to move on to the next question, which is embrace journalism to tell our stories through our own lenses. I happen to really love that statement, and I want to start it off with, let's see, Carl Clay, please.
Carl, please take yourself off mute.
I don't hear nothing.
Oh, okay, Carl. Let me
We
say, can you hear me?
Carl, you're still on mute.
Yeah, I see him mute.
Yeah.
Signed.
Can you
Okay.
hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
we got you.
Okay.
Okay, Carl. The question I asked is embrace journalism to tell our stories through our own lenses. Being that the type of work that you do, can you answer that question for me, please?
Journalism has its place in terms of being able to tell our story, but I think journalism is dictated by he who controls the editorial process of what's been written, because I've seen a lot of brilliant stories written and they get diced and cut up and butchered by somebody who has a political angle, or at the very least looking to satisfy the owners of the paper or something like that. When you have ownership like somebody like Tony, who has complete editorial control over his paper, that can be a very powerful thing. As we go up the food chain in terms of the journalistic landscape, from the the Daily Newses to the New York Times to the the Washington Post and all of these larger papers, you find that the writers may have the most honest intent to tell a story accurately and tell truth to power. But again, somebody decides that, that's not what we want to publish today. We want to put that one in the drawer until later on, and later on never occurs in a lot of instances. So I think journalism is very powerful. It's powerful for us as a theater because, how you write about a play, how you talk about it is very important. Is your goal to improve the level of efficiency of the writers and the producers and the actors, or is it to, destroy it, make fun of it, put it down? I had a conversation, and I won't say what paper it was, but this goes back about 10 years ago. The editor of a paper sent some reporters out for a program we were doing. It's something that occurred at our theater in which we were looking to give some folks a chance to, do their thing. And this writer came and they, they wrote a story about it. They didn't like the performances, but what they did was they said, and in the theater is, in Roy Wilkins Park and, Southeast Queens and blah, 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 and blah. And that's where they got me hot, because I said, look, you can talk about the things that go on stage because that's part of the process of development and everything else. But I dare you talk about this community. I dare you talk about this theater, because we're the shell that allows things to go on. So how do you attack that? This is a platform. Don't attack the platform. Don't ever do that. But it just shows you that there's a, you know, it always depends on who's in charge, who's calling the shots, you know, and what their political or progressive outlook is on the world. Or are they just trying to trip, or they have somebody else's agenda in mind? So I think it's journalism can be the water that allows plants to grow, or it can be some acid that just, you know, kills everything, you know?
Selena, what's your take on it? I know you're very deep into journalism.
Yes, and before I get to that, I do want to say that we're getting a lot of Q&A in the chat box. Diane Sears said, excellent concept regarding coalition to drive dialogue and solution-based actions concerning key issues. And then Harry Chambers said, I like the concept of creating a micro networking model that cross-pollinates local Black businesses with local media. What information is available about creating this opportunity? Harry Chambers, Osborne Enterprises. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. Yeah, to answer the question, journalism, I think historically has always played a huge role in telling our stories and our lenses. In fact, I, for 2 or 3 years, freelance for the New York Amsterdam News, which we know is the longest running Black-owned newspaper in the nation. And the reason why it's so important, because, you know, to the earlier point I made, it's because it's trusted and we tell the stories from our perspective. In fact, I had a conversation with Joy Reid from MSNBC, and she was telling me that when she was covering Trayvon Martin in Florida back in 2012, the lens she was talking about it from, and even Tremaine Lee, who was also at MSNBC, was very different than mainstream media. It was, you know, I think that a lot of times people don't understand their bias, and they don't understand how their bias is reflected in the work that they do. And they have blind spots. But when it's told from a Black journalist's perspective, I think you have more empathy and sympathy. And, you know, we know things aren't just black and white. And we know that police officers lie. The people who write up the police reports, they lie as well. Politicians, we know that they're all in cahoots. So, like, we take things, I think, a little deeper just because of our experiences and our background. And that's why it's so important for us to tell our stories using journalism.
Have anybody ever heard of What's the 411? Ruth Morrison?
Yes.
Okay, Ruth is on, who's a good friend of mine. And I know if you're into the digital world, I know you've seen What's the 411, and I do encourage those, because Ruth comes from the old school. I'm not, I know, Ruth, you're probably in the kitchen or something like that, but that's okay, Ruth, because I can see you're muted. But I was speaking with Ruth the other day, and Ruth came on the conference call, and she said, Alvin, you know, everything that everyone's talking about makes a lot of sense. It's because Ruth Morrison understood the digital space back in the 90s. She just was telling me that yesterday. So to get to your point is that we have to take what we know and advance it. I'm very excited by Miss Hill. Miss Hill is hitting it on the head for young folks. This sister knows what she's talking about. Don't move your eyes off of Miss Hills. I'm telling you. Okay.
I know. That's why I invited her.
Now that I see who she is, I know exactly where she's going. You see, Mrs. Hill is moving up the ladder. But Mrs. Hill, you were close enough so that as Miss Hill moves off the ladder, she's breaking off a piece to Tony. Hey, because if she's sitting talking with someone famous, she said, you know something? I have a couple of authors or a couple of publications I really would like you to do the Chitlin circuit with. Oh, really? Yes, they need you. That's great. Mrs. Hill is connected to Tony. Mrs. Hill is even connected to Malcolm. Okay, then? It's because they could say, well, look, yeah, we definitely would like to get her. So Mrs. Hill is in that space. So it trickles down. If you give Mrs. Hill the space with the white people and Mrs. Hill doesn't clear it, then it's only the white folks giving her access to only them, not us.
I hate to interrupt, but I see somebody that's was one of my first advertisers, Dawn Kelly. Are you still there? I know she popped up.
Okay.
Tony.
Dawn Kelly. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, how are you? Yes.
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for participating. I was telling everybody you were the first person to take the chance and advertise with Our World Media magazine. And I will always remember you for that and to say thank you. And everybody else followed, but you were the first. And I wanted to know what we're talking about. What is your impression on journalism and the stories that we tell, and how do you see it through your eyes?
Well, thank you so much, Pauline, for allowing me to join at such a late time. I think journalism is most important. I am a public relations executive, and before I started my business, and so I relied upon reporters, journalists, editors to get stories out about the important things in life. You know, one in particular is Selena Hill, who's on this phone call today. It's just so ironic to me how small the world is, because when she was first starting out in her career, I was an executive at Prudential Financial, and we involved her in a lot of the events that we created at Prudential, especially around the financial behaviors of African Americans. So I really do believe that reporters are very, very important to the United States of America and to the world, because they make sure that we know what's going on, because none of us can know what's going on all over the place. So we need them as an extension of our eyes and our ears to let us know what's going on and how it affects and impacts our lives.
Hey,
and now you hi. Now you and Joe, Pauline, I mean, I want to tell you that, you know, it wasn't hard for me to decide to, you know, be your first advertiser. Listen, you know, we were starting as a new business here in Jamaica, Queens, the Nourish Spot, and you and Joe were jumping out on faith to start Our World Media, and I thought, you know, it was like appropriate timing. You know, I believe that God doesn't make any mistakes, and so it was appropriate timing. You know, we partnered together, and look at us both now.
I know.
We're doing excellent, right? We're doing great. Look at you. I just love the visual. I would tell you, I'm trying to figure out how I can take a picture of you and me, because the visual here is making me so proud and so happy. So again, I think it's wonderful that you guys have your finger on the pulse of what's going on in America, especially at this time, because Black people need our media now more than ever before, because the other media seems to be preoccupied with inanity and a bunch of falsehoods. And so we need our people out here letting us know what's going on for real.
Thank you so much, Dawn, for everything that you have done over the years for Our World, for me and Joe. I appreciate everything. And I always said when I started my radio show, I was going to bring you aboard, which I did. And I still want to continue working with you, Dawn, with doing another radio show, you know, especially because you have your healthy eating. And that's something that's very important for this community, your business, you know. So I want to give you always support. You're breaking up.
If you would allow me to, if you would allow me to make a shameless plug, I just want to tell everybody that the Nourish Spot is a healthy food and beverage haven here in Southeast Queens. We're located at 107 in Guy Brewer. And what we are offering the community is access to healthy food, fruits and vegetables, mostly organic, beans, all kind of healthy, good stuff that you can use to immunize and inoculate your body and your family's body against chronic diseases and diseases like COVID. We have wheatgrass head, ginger, turmeric, garlic, all the things, all the natural things that God provided us that, put together correctly can heal you without the need of pharmaceutical medicine. So I just really want to, again, say, come, let us nourish you. I want to thank Joe and Pauline for having me. You guys are part of my family.
All right. Love you back. Love you back.
Can I ask a question, Dawn?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dawn, can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is a good-looking guy, so I want to ask you a question. I got a lot of myself, girl. You know what I'm saying? I was just sharing with my colleagues because I'm on a lot of medication now, and I spoke to my sister Pauline, and I just spoke to my doctor. I'm going to get off some of these medication. I want to stop by. Would I be able to speak with you? And you could, because I got to change my eating habits.
Yes.
Man, I'm eating so bad. I'm looking at the dog right now. That's how bad it is.
Oh my God.
So yes, Alvin, come on by to the Nourish Spot. We're open till 7 p.m. today. Okay, 7 p.m. today. We're closed on Sundays. Self-care Sunday. Okay, but we're here till 7.
Your number, and I'm gonna come by next week. I'm gonna drive on by. I'm sorry, guys. I just want to because there's a reason why you're here. Because I need someone to hold my hand. Carl Clay's been on. Yes, Carl. I hadn't done that many push-ups yet, but Carl Clay has been on my case as well. So I definitely want to stop by. Thank you, Sister Pauline, for letting me aware of.
You're welcome.
Dawn. I appreciate the blessing.
You're quite welcome. I would like to move on to the next question, and that would be breaking down the inequities in Black media. Who would like to start off?
Well, I would like to start off. I am a former, for a short period of time, I did a stint as the president of Black Public Relations Society of New York. And one of the things that I've learned over the years that communication is power. We have to get our voice out there. We have to get people into the C-suite. When we in powerful positions, we could bring other African Americans in there. And we have to also, I believe that we need to get people on the track for journalism very early. We see like a Black males, how many journalists? I always get it. I don't get that many people that are Black males that write like that all the time. So we need to kind of like have a long-term plan to get us in those communities. I know the NABJ is doing something with getting African Americans to be into media. We need to get them behind the cameras. We need to get them behind cameras, video, everything that we can tell a story. As Naeem Makbar said, when we shape our own interests, we can shape our own history. Media is a very powerful tool. And I think what we're all talking about here is telling the story. And that's how that's how we became the champion in 14 counties. We tell that story. We tell that story. We tell that story. And the other part I want to emphasize is when Alvin was talking about celebrity, somebody asked me all the time, am I a celebrity? And I said, yes, because I celebrate us. And if we celebrate ourselves and we market ourselves and we market ourselves and we market ourselves and we back up that marketing with our word, we will build powerful brands.
That another point to that is here it goes again with the networking. Everybody write this down, and you can get it on your phone. HBCU Go. I think you guys may have heard of that. HBCU Go. That's Curtis Simon. He's the former vice president of marketing for BET. HBCU Go. Here's another format. I know Ms. Hill knows about that. I'm asking even Malcolm as well as Tony. The reason why I want you to get there, and I will share you Mr. Curtis Simon's number. That is the young people that you need to go after because they want to write. They want to do video. They don't have any place to go. They need some type of publication to work with. They need some type of people to write for. And these young Black people, no matter where they are in the country, will give you content that you need.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Yeah.
Right. Because they need to have the experience. That's important. Right. Another thing too, write down rollingoutmagazine.com. You go to Rolling Out Magazine, they have television shows, they got all kinds of content. I would give you Randy Fling's number. Are y'all feeling me where I'm going with this, right?
No.
Absolutely. Don't they need content? All of these areas, same thing with Our World. They would love to have more young reporters on the street, young writers. Sure. So
most definitely.
And not only reporters.
You know, we need more resources because I would love to hire a health column to write a story about Dawn Kelly and her fabulous health food stop.
Absolutely.
You know, but we need resources because these writers got to get paid. So we're operating on very limited funds. That's one of the problems we have. We need more resources. We need more capital.
Right. And there are a lot of stories out there to be told. There are stories that are not being told.
A lot of stories to be told. Right.
There are people out there, small business people, who are doing all sorts of things, and they're silent as far as the media is concerned because no one really knows about them. And so, I think
it's only also too. It's not what I got here. It's what I became here. The power of internship and mentoring someone and the ability to write. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something we need to look at too, because a lot of people, if they couldn't get a job right away, then they couldn't get any skill. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to look at the ability to get them on a path. I write because my teacher told me to read everything to A to Z, and one day you would be a great writer, because she said I had an uncanny sense of ability to write. And that was in high school, and I used that all my life to say, you know what, I got some ability here because somebody inspired me.
Okay.
Ms. Lee, you were saying, Ms. Lee?
No, I was just saying that there are so many stories out there to be told. There are people, we have Black people doing all kinds of things that are never mentioned because no one really knows about them. And these are the opportunities, if you have the interns, those are the stories they can write, to go out and find the people, because some of these people are very busy, like myself. You know, I run 2 businesses, 2 companies, and they're successful. I've been running them for 20 years, but nobody knows about me because I'm busy. And so when you're busy like that, unless someone comes your way asking for your story, they're probably not going to get it.
I would like to write about you.
Okay.
Absolutely. Reach out.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ with you guys, because as a public relations person and now entrepreneur that is promoting herself to the media, I think one of the things that you're saying, Sandra, about being busy, I think it's what we choose to make time for, right? So I understand you running 2 businesses, right? So I'm sure that I'm sure that you are running ragged on both ways, right? And so it's the choices that we make. And if we make the choice to spend, you know, a half an hour or an hour on marketing, then we'll do it. But if we choose that time to focus on our financials, then we don't do it. But I wanted to say something to Tony as well about journalism. You know, because I worked in corporate America as well as in colleges and institutions, I'm familiar with you call a journalist up and you do a story. There's a brick wall between advertising and actual print or digital journalism. But that line has blurred. And so now it's like, unless you're paying for advertisement, then you can't get coverage. And I'm not sure that is, you know, fair to the person reading the publication, because it doesn't seem that it's, you know, objective. It seems that it will be a subjective story because you're only doing the story because somebody's paying you for it.
I mean, I could be guilty of that, but Dawn, I'm a free paper, and I'm trying to circulate a certain circulation. I'm trying to produce a certain amount. The cost of printing a newspaper is skyrocketed since Trump took the office because he has a war with Canada, raising the paper prices. So I'm affected.
Can I tell you
so
something?
That's why my prices is a little higher. So I'm in a catch-22 situation. I don't know.
Let me go back. I can help you with that, Tony. Don't you guys remember? You guys are going to love this. I think it was Newsday. I think it was because I was profiled. Do you remember Newsday did that profile where it had your picture and it had all that write-up under it? You remember? And you cut that profile out. And you turned that profile into a public relation piece because they wrote that profile that you were able to extend. You can do profile and then to get local companies to bring that profile, okay, to the, that advertisement, profile sponsored by, it's not big money, but you know what? If you sell that at a lower rate and have them put it there, after a while, because you got to remember, people keep those profiles and circulate those profiles. You see? Now that's print as well as digital. You see, you have to learn, and what Dawn was saying to Miss Lee, she was basically saying, which a lot of companies need to be educated on. They know how to run their business, but they don't know how to market and promote their business. They run their business, but they don't know how to market and promote their business. And what Dawn is saying, you need to cut a little piece of money out there, even if you got to pay someone to do a press release on yourself, because that will generate more business.
Right. And I just wanted to echo.
Go ahead, Selena.
Alvin just said, and also to Dawn's point, and what Ms. Sandra said. Yes, I strongly advocate for hiring a publicist, someone like Dawn Kelly, who she used to work in communications, a communication specialist, because not only can they help market, but they have the relationships to actually get your business profiled. And to the point, to Dawn's point about that sponsored content that's happening, what we call that is branded content, right? So because everything is digital and the market and the advertising landscape has drastically changed, and in order to survive, you need money, to Mr. Tony's point. So what we do, and what I see a number of publications are doing, they have what's called branded content. So they make it clear to the reader that there was some type of financial backing in this piece of content that was made, and it's beneficial for both parties. Now, we would not do branded content with the Trump administration or someone who does not align with our values, but in order to survive, you have to, there is, like she said, a very fine line, because, we have to survive.
But it gets back down to what Dawn was saying. Spend that little money with Tony. If you hear where we're coming from, we're not talking about a lot of money. Small money with repetition. That's what we're talking about, because repetition then allows Tony to make more and more money and all of us to make more and more money. But at least I'd rather have $1 coming than have nothing coming.
Now, would somebody please give me $1?
Right. And what I'm saying, I'm not saying that the business didn't survive and hasn't been doing well, but it could have been better. It probably would be a multi-million-dollar company instead of what it is.
But that company, that will come because I see who you are. First of all, you got to tell us the story why Malcolm put you outside.
Oh my God! Must we go there?
Oh, sounds like a story to me.
Hey, Alvin, me and you, bro. Me and you.
You're cold, Alvin. You're cold.
Yeah, he didn't put me outside.
He has to
I came outside because I knew there would be no echo.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
that's good. That's good. There's a gentleman that I really want to hear from is Reginald Thomas. Can you unmute yourself? And I would like to ask you, what is your impression on journalism to tell our stories through our own lenses?
So I may have mentioned, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear now.
I had to switch computers.
Okay.
As I mentioned yesterday, I worked at the Crisis Magazine as the director of advertising for just under 10 years. And one of the things that I found, having been in TV, having been in radio, is that when you talk about mainstream audiences, and this is where you really have to be focused and understand that there are not a lot of Black companies that have big money. The money really comes from general market businesses or white businesses. That's where the real money is. And the thing is that what I found is that, yes, journalism is a big deal, but you got to get real creative in terms of how you're going to generate the money. So one of the things that I saw was germane, because it was difficult to get people to buy into just buying the journalism. Yeah, they would get involved with the Image Awards because television was involved in that, and you had print, and there was some marketing on TV One at the time we had that arrangement. But I saw opportunities to, we built a radio show. George Laura Blackburn was my boss. She lives there in Jamaica. We created a radio show on there. We brought Wayne on to help her out. Another thing that we did was event marketing and planning. And we tried to push that out to a global scale. So one of the things that we did at the NAACP convention in 2015, we got involved with the Cameroon National Ballet, brought them in. They partnered with Dance Theater Harlem, and then we did a big event on that. This is a very different environment right now. And the thing is that even in advertising, what we're seeing right now with Black Lives Matter and the systemic racism, it was in the advertising community also. One of the things that I dislike so much about specifically radio was the fact that in the general market scheme, they had a cost per point. But then in radio, they wanted to reduce that. And that's because they felt as though the Black dollar wasn't as valuable as the general market value. And then my argument used to be to the ad agency, okay, let's take our dollars and we're gonna throw them in a pot. Now, which one was yours and which one was mine? And they would get stunned because they understood what I was talking about. They only would attribute a diminished value once they knew where it come from, based on where they spent their ad dollars. If they bought it from WBLS, WLIB, WWRL, WPGC, or WHUR, was less value than it was if it came from WABC or WPLJ. The thing is that we need to expand our horizons. One of the things that I've been involved in lately is Ancestry.com. Just trying to find out where I'm from. One of the things I found out is that my cousin is the mayor of Liverpool, England. Her name is Anna Rothery. And so we communicate back and forth through Facebook, and sometimes we send each other notes. But I'm trying to figure out a way for us as Black people here in the States. Let's figure out a way to do business in the UK with our people there. They're dealing with the same thing that we're dealing with here. They got the Black Lives Matter movement going on there. They got systemic racism. They got the monuments that have been offensive to the Black community. Some of you mentioned, Wayne mentioned yesterday that I used to live in Russia. I lived in Moscow. I absolutely loved it. People don't know that Pushkin was Black. White Russian people didn't have a problem with Black folks. People like Paul Robeson, they lived there. They had friends there. The deal is that we got to expand our horizons beyond this this periphery here in the U.S. We work in a global environment right now.
Right.
If we invited people onto this platform right here from France, from the Caribbean, from Africa, from the UK, you'd be surprised how much better and how much more expansive we'd be able to grow and how quickly. And one of the things that you find out is that when you have US businesses that understand that you have a platform that works on a global scale, the optics are so much different. So that's one of the things that I would project, and one of the things I would propose is, as we work together moving forward on this farther, let's look at pulling from various areas. One of my friends, when I used to live in Russia, is Kwesi Twum, who owns Joy 107.7 in Accra, Ghana. And the dude is now, he's into TV. The one of the wealthiest Black people in the world is in Nigeria. The thing is that if we reach out to those communities, let's stop just looking here in the US, because the deal is that we're gonna always be marginalized in the ad community. Somebody mentioned earlier today about Black radio. I tried to launch this Black radio station that I had purchased here in Florida, and a couple of things came up, and I decided that, you know what, I better go ahead and pull the trigger on this one. I'm glad I did, because they're selling Black radio stations. Well, radio stations in general are being sold for mere pennies now, because this coronavirus situation has really decimated the advertising communities. These people can't keep their budgets going, and even big companies like iHeart, they're planning for bankruptcy in some of these cases. Let's look beyond our borders here in the U.S. These weren't our borders to begin with, and we were global people. So let's just look from that.
Pauline,
That's a good point,
we have
Reginald.
to pay for the commercials real quick, Pauline.
Yes, that's true. All right. Well, we'll start off with the law firm of Stephen G. James and Associates. He's located at 87-66 Sutton Boulevard here in Queens, and you can reach him at 646-905-9000, and the Nourish Spot, which is 10705 Guy R. Brewer Boulevard in Jamaica, and her number is 718-526-2099, and that's Dawn Kelly. And Henry's Carrot Cake, which is at 159-15 Jamaica Avenue, Queens, and he's located in the mall, on the food court mall. He's open 5 days a week, and you can reach him at 718-262-8119. He has the best carrot cake this side of America, I want to say. I mean, it's just finger licking good. And of course, as I said, my lovely sponsor, TMI. Alvin, you can say your own commercial now.
Well, that's right. Please, if you would like to know more about our company, go to www.tmium.com. Or you can call 347-234-5304. That's right, 347-234-5304. Company is TMI and Partners. Tomorrow, everyone will know your business. Back to you, Pauline.
All right, and I'd also like to let everybody know you're listening to Our World, Our Power, and it can be heard on iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Play, and our social media, youtube.com, Our World Media, and also Instagram, Our World Media. So I appreciate everybody's contribution. Let's try to see if we can do another question and answer. And the other question,
I've something to say about the last question, if you don't mind, Lady
Sure, go
Pauline.
ahead. Go ahead, Tony.
Reginald, I agree with your point about the global, but I feel that I've been publishing for the last 15 years, and I probably only get 5% of the Black-owned business advertised with me. I gotta do a better job, or we gotta do a better job of make it up to 50%, because we need to circulate the money within our own community. There's no need to go global. If we are the only Black community in the country where the average Black person is making more money than the white person in Southeast Queens.
Yeah, but Tony,
no need to go outside.
But Tony, yes,
You just need to
because
motivate our people to support us.
Tony, you got to understand. Yes, outside brings in outside recognition. Outside also brings more people to your publication to read. But also, Tony, it's about branding. That's why cross-marketing with Our World and other companies is going to expand your brand.
I totally
It's
agree with
about
that.
expanding your brand. Use everybody else's numbers to expand with your numbers. And also, I want to say, Malcolm, my God, man, you know something? Look how you have to run out there to the lady. You see, Malcolm, you didn't man up. You should have stayed in the house.
Oh my God!
Don't get upset. Don't get mad. Don't hate.
Man up, Malcolm. Stay on the couch.
I would like to hear from Dr. Georgia Nora. You have been very silent, and I know you are a great journalist, and you've been in the field for many years, and you have written your book. Give me your take on the subject.
Well, thank you, Lady Pauline. Yeah, I mean, everyone has said one thing or the other, but, as far as the question goes, I believe that we have more work to do. We have to build partnership, but that's why I alluded to this particular conversation we began yesterday. We have to come together as to form a united front, because with that, we can be able to spread out to build a better brand. Our brand was impacted by, for instance, everyone knows Robert Johnson, the former owner of BET. And BET now is owned by Viacom CBS, and now the content, as we know it, does no longer reflect what it used to be. My daughter worked for BET for 7 years. She's now doing something in Los Angeles, and I've always wondered, I said, what happened, And then on the other hand, I happened to have been interviewed by Amsterdam News. Amsterdam News is the oldest Black newspaper probably in the United States, So what's happening, we have to start building, we have to start investing in Black news, Black newspaper, so that with that, we can also tell our stories. Our stories are being, it's been diluted, our history, our story, where we come from, where we are going. So we really need to let this be the beginning of that conversation whereby we can unite, to extend ourselves to the greater community of US and the world.
And Tony, you already got 2 ads right here. If you go in the chat, already 2 companies are saying they want to add with you. I want my 15% commission, son. I'm gonna tell you that right off the bat.
Well, if Tony is willing to work with it, brother, I'm willing to look into advertising with him also.
Okay, I want my 50%, Tony. Hey.
You got it. You got it, Alvin.
Carl Clay. Do I hear Carl? Carl, do I hear something from you, Carl? Did I get an ad, Carl? I get an ad, Carl.
Paul's my longtime advertiser too.
Hey, guys, you're gonna have to split some of the money with me, with Our World. You cannot leave Our World out in the cold. Understand what I'm saying?
They want that profit.
No.
I brought everybody together, so I need a piece.
Up in 9 different directions.
Can't leave you out.
The whole thing about it, you already got people in the chat room. You already got people committed to advertise with you. So you need to get in that chat room before they close us out and find out who those people are.
Okay.
All right.
Selena, can you?
When you share, do the spreadsheet like I did and email it all to the panelists so that all the panelists can actually have their telephone number and email so we can start talking to each other immediately.
Okay.
There you go.
Selena, I know that you are able to see people's response and people who has called in. Do you have any more people that you would like to mention while we're here?
Sure. Well, I think Ms. Alvin already mentioned it. Francine Holt says, I'm committed to running an ad with Tony. She also says, I love my people. We are beautiful, Sandra. We got you. Yeah, so it was just a lot of love, I think, and it's a lot of support.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, it's 5:23, and I would like to.
Already?
Yeah,
Wow.
I would like to say to everybody on the panel, please tell the audience how they can get a hold of you all. So.
Get your pen, because I want to get this guy.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with Alvin. How can people reach you?
Well, that's right. You can call my private number. Well, that's 917-443-8573. I'll repeat it again for those who write very slow. That's 917-443-8573. I'll put it in the chat too. Thank you, Pauline.
All right, Tony Johnson.
Well,
How can people reach you?
yeah, my phone number is 718-864-6028. That's 718-864-6028. Or you can reach me by email at tjohnson192@hotmail.com. That's tjohnson192@hotmail.com. Or you can write to my P.O. Box.
Okay.
At P.O. Box 110014, Cayman Heights, New York, 11411. Our times.
I like that voice, Tony. I like that voice.
Selena Hill, how can people reach you if they need to?
Yes, the best way to reach me is on social media, on Twitter or Instagram. You can follow me at Miss Selena Hill. Miss is spelled with an MS. You can also check out my website, which is MissSelenaHill.com. Thank you.
Okay. Carl Clay from Black Spectrum.
Let me just say this. You can reach Black Spectrum at www.blackspectrum.net. Because the theater is closed right now, we are opening up to do some video shoots for streaming and the rest of it. We also have gone into our vault, our vintage library of productions we've done for the last 50 years. And so we have an at-home video series we just launched. It came on last night. It's gonna run for the next 20 weeks, 5 months. And I mean, we go back into stuff. We have Dick Gregory and Paul Mooney and plays and concerts and comedy shows and all the like. So we are gonna be looking to advertise that because it's a subscription-based series. So we wanna sell these subscriptions. They're being sold at a reasonable price. Again, our website is www.blackspectrum.net. Our phone number is 718-723-1800. You want to talk about advertising, you can reach me directly, 718-809-3515.
Okay, thank you. Reginald Thomas, how can people reach you?
You can reach me by phone at 217-530-1555 or email me at Reggie Thomas Jr. as in Junior at AOL.com.
Okay, thank you. Sandra Lee, how can people reach you?
Yes, if you need anything done construction-wise, repairs and properties, things of that nature, you can reach me at 856-229-4373.
Okay, Malcolm Boyd.
Yes, if you're interested in getting a manuscript published or edited, go to my website. That's 3-leggedelephant.com. That's not the number 3, but spell it out, 3-leggedelephant.com. If you're interested in anything I write, any of my novels, go to mannwalker.com. That's MANNWALKER.com. That's my website. And if you have any questions, any concerns, I'm also available at my email address, which is malcoboyd@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you. Dr. George Honora?
Oh, okay. So you can reach me through all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc. My number, again, is 347-258-8177.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Georgia. Dawn Kelly, how can the public reach you?
Okay, the Nourish Spot, you can reach us through by calling 718-526-2099 for curbside pickup, and you can reach me there as well. If you don't want to drive over here, you can use Uber Eats, DoorDash, Seamless, Grubhub, or Postmates. And we're located at 10705 Guy R. Brewer Boulevard. That's the old New York Boulevard for those of you that are over 40. And we're open today, Saturday till 7, but we're open Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 6.
All right, that sounds good. And Mr. Phil Andrews.
You can simply Google us, New York State largest African American Chamber of Commerce, and you can also put in LIACC, our acronym LIAACC, and you can go to our website at www.liaacc.org, and my email is president@liaacc.org.
Okay, and Mr. Wayne Gilman.
Oh my God.
Yes, I didn't forget you, darling.
All right. Yeah, I'm at 914-364-6733 cell. Email WAYG@37@AOL.com. That's how old I am. And Sandra Lee, do you come into the Westchester County area?
Sometimes I do.
Okay, that's just good to know. All right.
I wanted to add my email address. I didn't put that in there. It's slresidences@verizon.net.
Great.
So the phone number is 856-229-4373. slresidences@verizon.net.
Is somebody going to make a list of
And I also...
Yes, Carl. Yes.
Yeah, we have a list, Paul.
I also wanted to give you guys Nourish's email. It's nourish, NOURISH.Eden, EDEN @gmail.com.
That sounds good. Kelly, I need my mango juice, you know. I haven't had any in a long time.
Yes. Yeah, man. Yeah, your pineapple mango tango.
Okay.
Pauline,
Yes.
Ruth Morrison said she lost her voice.
Yeah.
She's the owner of founder of What's the 411. I'll give the number instead of reading a long email. Ruth Morrison direct number is 646. I repeat again, 646-303-4770.
Okay, I got it. I see it on my monitor. And,
thank you.
I want to take the time to give my support and my thanks to the producer of Our World Media and Mr. Joseph Swift, who is the producer and the engineer. He's the producer and the engineer of Our World, Our Power show. And I would like to say thank you very much. I couldn't do this show without him. He's a blessing. He's my partner. And I would like to also give thanks to all of you guys.
That's me.
All of you guys for being on the show and giving Our World, Our Power support. And we have to continue this conversation more often. And again, God bless and thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much. Great.
Enjoyed it.
With everyone.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Love you,
All
Miss
right.
Lee.
Take care. Malcolm, it's on. It's on.
Oh, it's on? Okay.
Yeah, it's on.
I'll
Hey,
be
Malcolm,
reaching out
go
to
in the
some
house,
of you people
Malcolm.
real soon.
Go in the house, Malcolm.
I need a
In the house.
publicist. I need a publicist, and I need some advertising.
This brother here, I don't know. I don't need nothing from him.
I can be a publicist.
I don't need a publicist.
There you
that's
go.
for sure.
Don't check me.